Hello ladies and gentlemen and welcome to round number 14 of the 2017 Hyper Stimulator New Zealand Supercars League. We are at Pukekohe for round number 14 of the championship. Currently just trying to find some drivers on track. There we go. Got Taylor Oakes and Josh Revel on screen. Currently at the start of qualifying for race number 1. It is shootout style with everybody on track at the same time, but they get one warm-up and then one flying lap. Josh Revel going up the inside of Taylor Oakes there to become pretty much the first man in the order. There we go. There he is. So it's going to be interesting to see how these guys handle this round, with it being the penultimate round of the championship, obviously, before we head to Newcastle for the final round of the championship in about 2 months' time. Josh Revel, the current defending, previous champion of the series, winning it last year, and has made a cameo appearance tonight after making his appearance in the Enduros as he starts his first flying lap. Coming it through turn number 1, through the first chicane, onto the back straight. He comes. Coming it through the back chicane. Oh, a little bit sideways out of there, not too bad. It will compromise him a little bit, but not massively. This comes through the hairpin, in tight, now exit, trying to get as much of a run as possible. This comes over the top of the mountain. To complete his first flying lap, it's going to be a 1 minute 2.660. Second driver to set a lap is Luke Dunsford. That's a 1 minute 4.021. And it's going to be Taylor Oakes who's going to be next, and he's going to go to P number 2 with a 1 minute 3.827. Next driver will probably be Rob Derrick. There he is with a 1 minute 5.182, and then Trevor Christensen with a 1 minute 5.224. Jen Siverson did a 1 minute 5.967. And Josh Revel has disqualified himself due to the fact that he is deciding to instead start from rear field. So currently looking at Trevor Wilson at the moment. He's currently up on Taylor Oakes, who currently sits in provisional pole position. Tony Dance goes to 7th with a 1 minute 8.80830. Nathan Addis goes to pole for the moment with a 1 minute 3.354. It's going to be fairly close at the moment. As Wilson comes through the hairpin, a little bit down on the sector time. Chris Bramley goes to pole with a 1 minute 2.907. Flying lap there. Craig Priest unfortunately has made a mistake by the looks of it, and he's going to go start second to last in 10th with a 1 minute 14.165. But Trevor Wilson goes to P number 2 with a 1 minute 3.297. See if anybody else is on a lap. I don't think they are. No, they are not. So that is the field pretty much done for qualifying. So your results are now on screen. Chris Bramley will start on pole alongside Trevor Wilson, followed by Nathan Addis and Taylor Oakes. They will start on the second row of the grid. Third row of the grid will be Luke Dunsford and Sean Petrie. 5th and 6th. 7th and 8th will be Rob Derrick and Trevor Christensen. 9th and 10th will be Jen Siverson and Tony Dance. And then rounding out the field will be Craig Priest and Josh Revel. So we will be back very shortly. We will take a quick ad break and then we'll be back for race number 1.
The world's best racing car simulators are now available for your personal and corporate entertainment. We manufacture for sale or hire open wheel and saloon car simulators. Don't bore your guests with long speeches, entertain them with something a little different at your corporate events. set an impression that lasts forever with our car simulators. Put the brakes on your busy schedule and call us today on 0800 497 377.
Alrighty, it is time for race number 1 here for the Pukekohe round number 14 of the championship in the 2017 Hyper Stimulator New Zealand Supercars League. We have 4 lights are on. Lights on, away we go for 20 laps around Pukekohe Park Raceway. Looking like everybody's got a great start. Couple of guys going 3 wide in the background. That is very audacious. And Tony Dance has gone wide at turn 1, unfortunately. But apart from that, he's managed to recover by the looks of it. But apart from that, everybody else has managed to settle themselves in. Josh Revel has gone up the inside of Rob Derrick there to take, I believe that is 6th position. Yes, it is. And he's also looking to do the move on Taylor Oakes as he goes up the inside. And he's going to move into 5th now after starting rear field. Oh, a bit of nose to tail stuff as checking up. And Craig Priest has actually gone around in the chicane. So not sure what's happened there, but we'll grab a replay and find out. So he's come down the back straight into the back chicane. I'm not sure if he's had contact. Oh, it looks like he did. He just unfortunately got checked up a little bit by Rob Derrick and had nowhere to go, unfortunately. So he is at the tail of the field, unfortunately. He's managed to keep it going, but he is at the back, so he's got a long trek to get back to the position he was in prior to that moment. And Chris Bramley's in pit lane as well. Oh, no. So Bramley has, unfortunately, must have jumped the start. And that's not ideal. He did that at Bathurst, although his co-driver Craig Priest did do that. So that's unfortunate, and it's not really going to help his championship too much, as he is currently in the championship by about a handful of points over Nathan Addis. But as we move back through the field, and it looks like Tony Dance has also gone off, so a couple of moments happening in the back chicane at the moment. We'll grab a replay of that and find out whether he's done that on his own or not. I'm presuming he has, being that far back behind Rob Derrick. So he's entered the chicane, and yes he has. He's pretty much just unfortunately gone on the gas a little bit too quick, and pretty much caused the car to just slide out from underneath him. As we're going to jump back to live, and there's apparently a battle going on between Josh Revel and Nathan Addison. Revel is now up to 2nd after 2 laps of starting at the back of the field. So monumental drive, although it is of kind of no surprise that he has managed to do that with how quick he is. As Trevor Wilson will be next on his list of drivers to pass at this point. And he's closing in fairly quickly. There's actually a battle going on just behind them between Luke Dunsford and Taylor Oakes for 4th position at the moment. Oakes currently leading that battle between those 2 cars. Although Dunsford's holding his own, so he's keeping up with Oakes here. Oakes currently 3rd in the championship overall, and Dunsford 2nd in the Social League Championship. Unfortunately, with Tony Dance racing tonight, he won't unfortunately make it to be able to take advantage and get into a position to take the lead of the championship and win it in Social League. But still gaining points and getting 2nd, nevertheless, is still a very good effort in his debut season. As Dunsford got very close to Oakes there under brakes, but unfortunately hasn't got the run out of Castro onto Railway. So head into the back chicane. Dunsford right there on the brakes. He's very strong on the brakes, but he just doesn't quite get the drive on exit. But he could possibly look to make a move. Not quite at the hairpin. Well, he's got a good run here out of the hairpin now this time, so he could possibly try and make a move if he can set it up. All he needs to do is have Taylor get a bad run up the hill, and then he should be able to do it. But Taylor's got not too bad of a run, but nor is Dunsford actually. Dunsford's actually got quite a good run as they head into turn 1. Is he going to make a move? He's pulled out of the draft, but he's going to sit station. He's not quite close enough. Oh, and Oakes has run wide, and that's allowed Dunsford to close up even more. So Oakes making a couple of mistakes here. And this is helping Dunsford catch up. as apparently Rebel is now right on the tail of Trevor Wilson. Oh, big lockup from Trevor Wilson there, as they now head into the back chicane. Looks like Dunsford's actually lost a little bit of time. Meanwhile, to Oaks, as now Rebel comes into the hairpin. Has he got a good drive? He's got a good one, but not quite as good as he would probably like. And apparently there's been more drama for Craig Priest, as he's unfortunately had to readdress to Jen Siverson after just slightly braking too late and giving it Jen a bit of a tap, and she's unfortunately rotated too far to the point where she can't save it. So not a good race for Craig Priest so far in this race. And he's only 5 laps in, 1 compulsory pit stop, so he may be able to recover with a pit stop. But he's going to have his work cut out to gain back some positions, as Rebel is actually still not past Wilson at this point. He's close, but and Wilson's made a mistake there, and that's not going to help Trevor at all, and that's going to allow Rebel to catch up just that little bit more. Has Rebel got a good run out of the hairpin? It looks like he has, but now over the top of the mountain onto pit straight. It's looking like Rebel's got a very good run. He's right up, tucked up in the draft, but he's not going to be close enough to make a move. If he does, it'd be very audacious. So come through turn number 1. Through the chicane. It's looking like they're fairly clean. Rebel going for the tighter line, while Wilson decided to go for a much wider exit. Try and get the speed out of the corner. But Rebel's going to have the draft turn. It's going to allow him to keep up and stay with Wilson. So they head into the back chicane. Rebel closing right up under brakes here. Rebel looking very strong in the brakes, and he's tucked right up behind. He's going to have a look up the inside. No, he's not. He's going to poke his nose out just to let Trevor know he's there at the hairpin. A little bit sideways out of the hairpin as well. So, a little bit of traction loss, but he's closed right up the top of the mountain. He's going to be in the draft, and he's going to have a bit of aero wash as well, and he's run a little bit wide. But he's managed to stay with Trevor fairly close. This is a very close battle at the moment for the lead of the race. And we're only 7 laps into this. So it's going to be interesting to see what actually happens. Rebel should be able to get by within the next lap or so. If not, up here at the chicane, he's going to look to the inside, but not quite. Oh, and that's a big lockup, and he's had to, unfortunately, take evasive action, and he's gone around a little bit, but he's managed to hold on to it. Probably a bit of an audacious maneuver there to try and get into the lead of the race from Rebel there. But he's managed to gather it back up, and he'll more than certainly gain the time back that he's lost fairly quickly. As they come over the top of the mountain once again. They'll have completed 8 laps this time by. And we shouldn't be too far away from seeing guys take their pit stops. Their compulsory pit stop, it'll be 1 pit stop only in this race. And probably in the next one as well. So it looks like first person to blink is Taylor Oaks from what I'm seeing. So he's in pit lane for his compulsory pit stop. So that allows Dunsford up to 4th. Trevor Christensen looking like he had a bit of a moment there into the chicane. Back chicane. He was a bit off. Oh, Rebel right, having to dive right to the outside, but he's looking like he's got a very good run out of the hairpin, and he's going to try and hold it around the outside. No, he's going to actually exit it, well, into pit lane actually. Could have worked and got by actually if he had stayed up for 1 more lap, but I don't know if his fuel was going to allow him to. So Rebel and Christensen now in pit lane as well. So the next question is, when does Wilson come in? because this is going to be interesting to see whether he'll pit this lap and react to Revel, or whether he'll stay out and go a little bit longer. See, not quite halfway yet in this race, so guys will be wanting to try and have as good of tyres as possible near the end of this race. As Dunsford comes into pit lane as well, and Christensen and Revel have left pit lane now, so starting to see some guys come into pit lane. Rob Derrick has entered pit lane as well. Doesn't look like anybody else is coming into pit lane. No, Priest is coming into pit lane by the looks of it. Now, is Wilson going to come into pit lane? Yes, he is. So, Trevor Wilson comes into pit lane to serve his compulsory pit stop and take on fuel and tyres to make it to the end of this race. Nathan Addis also comes into pit lane for his pit stop as well. Bramley comes into pit lane as well. So the top three at this stage all come into pit lane. Petrie stays out, so he will take over the lead of the race. However, he's yet to make a stop, so the field is not quite entirely cleansed. Tony Dance staying out as well, so he's yet to pit, and he will slot into second. Jen Siverson yet to pit, so she will slot into third. Oakes has already made his stop, so where he comes out in relation is going to be interesting. So Wilson still kept the race lead. No, actually Josh Revel has gained the race lead, so Oakes has come out, has eventuated into 7th, although Siverson and Dance are yet to pit, so he'll come up into 5th. Addis is 4th, Wilson 3rd, Revel 2nd, Sean Petrie 1st. Petrie's probably going to be pitting this lap. Is he going to pit? Yes, he is. So he will fall down the order, and Josh Revel will take over the race lead of race 1. Now, pretty much, he's going to cross the line this time by, and we're going to be pretty much halfway through this race. 9 laps to go. He's just done the fastest lap of the race, 1 minute 2.283. Wilson 4 seconds behind Revel at this stage. Nathan Addis is currently in 3rd, with Trevor Christensen not too far behind him. Christensen, unfortunately, a lap down in 11th. 4th is Tony Dance, and 5th is Jen Siverson. Those two yet to pit. So your effective 4th place driver is Taylor Oakes. 5th effectively is Luke Dunsford. 6th is Chris Bramley. 7th, Rob Derrick. And 8th is Sean Petrie. So that's your current, your effective race order. Is now Dunsford is coming under attack from Chris Bramley, and Craig Priest, his teammate, is not too far behind in that Castrol GTX Nissan Altima. So it's going to be interesting to see how quickly Bramley can get by, and how quickly Priest can catch up and get by Dunsford as well. As Bramley's got a very good run, he's right up in the draft behind Dunsford. I would expect a move from him into the back chicane. Is he staying with Dunsford? Has he got a good exit? Yes, he has, and he's got a very good exit, as a matter of fact, and he's going to be able to make a move down the back straight, down Railway. So they head down towards the back chicane. Bramley's going to be clear Dunsford before they even get to the chicane, so he's going to slot in just ahead of Dunsford to move into 7th. Tony Dance and Jen Siverson yet to pit. Gone quite long on their strategies at the moment. 13 laps into this race. The longest drivers to have gone so far. Dunsford not doing it too bad to hold on to Bramley at this point, although Bramley's got a little bit more pace, so he should pull away in the next lap or two. Bramley will be trying to build a gap as best he can and try and make up for lost time. Unfortunately, after that drive through in the early stages of this race from jumping the start, he's got Taylor Oakes not too far ahead of him. As well as Jen Siverson and Tony Dance. Taylor Oakes now looking to get by, and looks like Tony Dance is going to try for a move on Jen Siverson, but they're yet to pit. So they've got to be careful. Oh, Tony Dance running a little bit wide. And now, no, they don't. They're still out there. And now Oakes is going to look to try and go around Tony Dance here. Is he going to get the move done? Oh, Dance with a big moment over the top of the hill, and he's going to go around the outside, and Bramley's going to follow Oakes through. Is he going to hold it around the outside? Yes, he is. Had to think about it twice, but he's managed to get it done, and he's given Oakes a little bit of a rub through the chicane. Lucky to not turn Oakes, but they're still continuing on. This is the battle for 4th position. Oakes is going to look to make a move on Siverson here. Dunsford just in the background behind Tony Dance, and Oakes is going to go up the inside of Siverson to take 4th, and yes he has, but Siverson's going to try the over and under, but she can't because Bramley's there, and Bramley will slot in behind Oakes. Is he going to try for a move up the inside of Taylor? Oh, a little bit of contact, but he managed to get it done, albeit with a bit of panel rubbing, and Siverson's run wide unfortunately there, and now Dunsford's by Tony Dance as they come up the hill. Dunsford's going to go by Siverson here. Should have her fairly easily. Oh, and he's turned her. Siverson's in the wall after that. Oh, and that's going to be close. And a big moment for Priest and Dance there. That was extremely close to ending in tears for both those guys. So grab an actual POV on board from Tony Dance and see what he saw. So he saw Jen coming across the track and then had to swerve to avoid her. We'll actually jump on board with Craig, actually, if we can find him. There we go. So we'll have a look and see what Craig saw. So he went to go to the outside and then saw Jen and had to take a very evasive bit of action, unfortunately. Lucky to get away with that, but we'll jump back to live. Move back through the field. Josh Rebel is unfortunately pulled out of this race after leading for so long. Tony Dance yet to pit, and same with Jen Siverson. Just making sure, yes they are, so they're still out there. They've only got 4 laps left to pit. So they're leaving it extremely late at this stage. With only a handful of laps to go. Just scrolling through the order, trying to find a battle going on at the moment. Looks like the field is fairly well and truly spread out at this point. Taylor Oakes and Luke Dunsford, the closest cars on track at the moment from what I can tell. So Trevor Wilson has just crossed the line to start lap 17. 3 laps to go here in race number 1. If you're just joining us, then welcome to round number 14 of the championship of the 2017 Hyper Stimulator New Zealand Supercars Championship. Currently not too far away from finishing race 1. Be sure to go back and check it afterwards, as it was very action-packed earlier on. Currently looking at Taylor Oakes. He's currently trying to pull a gap on Luke Dunsford at the moment. Oakes currently sitting in 4th position. And Bramley's got by Christensen there by the looks of it. as Dance has actually gone across the chicane by the looks of it. Not sure why. He's looking like he's just missed his brake zone from what I've looked at on the second screen here, but nevertheless focusing on what's happening at the front of the field. And Dance comes into pit lane with that moment, actually, just as I say that. But this battle for fourth position, oh, Trevor Wilson getting right up on two wheels, and he's run wide because of it. And he's actually made the wall as well. So this battle could very well become something of interest in these final few laps. Dunsford's really been closing the gap to Silverson. I mean, Oaks at this point. Oh, and Dunsford's run it a little bit wide, and he's unfortunately cost himself there. That's not what Luke wanted at all. But they're going to be coming this time by to start the final lap of the race. Is he going to have anything left to try and challenge Oaks for that fourth position? It's going to be mighty close, but not sure. All he needs is Oaks Foot to make one minor mistake. But I don't think he's going to have that happen. As they come through the first chicane, Dunsford's really closed up on Oaks there. So we could have a little bit of a battle here in these final few corners between Dunsford and Oaks. But we'll quickly jump to the front of the field as he comes over the top of the mountain. It's going to be your race one winner, Trevor Wilson, will take out the win for race number one. Second, coming over the mountain now, will be Nathan Addis, who'll take second position. Third is going to be Chris Bramley, who's going to hold on and consolidate his championship lead at the moment. Fourth is going to be Taylor Oaks, if he can hold on, which it looks like he has. Dunsford's not quite done enough, and Oaks is going to take fourth position, followed by Luke Dunsford. Sixth is going to be Jen Siversoon, who's actually just pitted on the last lap. So that's interesting, but that's going to mean Rob Derrick's going to finish in sixth, sorry. No, Sean Petrie's actually going to finish sixth. Rob Derrick's going to finish seventh. Siverson is going to finish 8th, I believe. Dance is going to finish 9th as he comes through the last part of the circuit. 10th is going to be Trevor Christensen. 11th, Craig Priest. And 12th with a DNF, Josh Revel, as Siverson comes out of pit lane to cross the line to complete the race and finish in 8th. Tony Dance crawling up the hill. I think he may have run out of fuel. I'm not 100% sure there, as he's still rolling, and he's going to cross the line now to take 9th position there. So there is your race finishing results of race number one. Trevor Wilson taking out the win from Nathan Addis, followed by Chris Bramley, Taylor Oaks, Luke Dunsford, Sean Petrie, Rob Derrick, Jen Siverson, Tony Dance, Trevor Christensen, Craig Priest, and finally Josh Revel. 11 finishes, 12 competitors. So that is race number one. Race number two is coming up very shortly, and that is going to be a reverse grid of race one's finishing order. So be sure to stick around for the action of race number two. We'll be back shortly with an ad break, and we'll be back for race number two.
Go, go, go! The world's best racing car simulators are now available for your personal and corporate entertainment. We manufacture for sale or hire open wheel and saloon car simulators. Don't bore your guests with long speeches, entertain them with something a little different at your corporate events. Set an impression that lasts forever with our car simulators. Put the brakes on your busy schedule and call us today on 0800 497 377.
Alrighty, it is time for race number 2 here for round 14 of the 2017 Hyper Stimulator New Zealand Supercars League. A reverse grid of the finishing order of race number 1. So it is going to be Craig Priest and Trevor Christensen on pole, Tony Dancer, Jen Siverson just behind, and we are away for race number 2. Everybody getting a fairly good start. Looks like Petrie, Derek and Siverson all went 3 wide into turn 1, but they've managed to settle themselves down. Oh, bit of contact for Jen Siverson back there. Oh, Nathan Addis has gone around. That's not going to help Addis at all. So unfortunately, Addis has gone to the back of the field on his own. On his own fault. Pretty much that looked like Nathan's fault from what I can see. So we try to find him. There we go. So he's pretty much just turned across the track and then unfortunately bounced off the side of Jen Siverson. So that's unfortunately his own doing. As they come through over the top of the mountain, it's looking like Chris Bramley's trying to make a move on Rob Derrick at the moment, but is he going to get it done? He's going to look to the inside at turn 1, and he possibly could get it done. Oh, a little bit of contact between himself and Rob Derrick. Oh, and there's more contact. Bramley getting a little bit of help to the outside of the circuit. But otherwise, so far, everybody's pretty much sorting themselves out. Bramley's got a good run out of Castrol and down the back straight, and he's managed to clear Derek before they even get to the corner. And it's looking like he's now going to try a move on Tony Dance as they head into the chicane. And Tony Dance has outbraked himself. He's gone straight ahead at the chicane. And he's going to fall down the order a little bit. He's going to slot in behind Bramley, which is good of him, as he's going to go side by side with Rob Derrick, unfortunately getting up onto the grass. And Petrie's in pit lane. I think that might be a drive-through, and Addis making a move on Wilson side by side up the hill. This isn't going to end well, as Addis is on the outside, Wilson on the inside, and Wilson's going to try and move up the inside of Dance into turn 1. It's possibly not going to work. No, it's not. He's had to back right out of it last second, but Dance has now run wide, and now Wilson's going to get by. And Addis is going to have to sit stationed behind Dance until he can get a run, which he has to some extent. Oh, and he's been hit. Dance has got a bit wobbly on the exit, and he's gone backwards, and there goes Jen Siverson. Whoa, move from Nathan Addis. So now Taylor Oakes is going to look to get by Tony Dance. No, he's not. Oh, and Addis has gone off. Addis has gone into the fence again. What's going on there? So we'll have a look from above. So as he's come up the inside, he's kind of moved under the brakes, and that's been his own fault, unfortunately. So he's unfortunately fallen back to the tail end of the field, which is not going to have helped him at all. So we'll jump back to live. Addis is at the back, along with Jen Siverson, unfortunately. It's jumping to the front of the field. Craig Priest, your current race leader. As I was saying, Craig Priest is your race leader, followed by Trevor Christensen, Luke Dunsford, Chris Bramley, Trevor Wilson, Rob Derrick, Taylor Oakes, Tony Dance, Jen Siverson, and then Nathan Addis. That is your order after lap 1. Well, 3 laps, sorry. As now Dunsford's going to possibly look to make a move on Christensen here. Bramley's not too far behind. So This is going to be interesting. Bramley's going to look to try and make a move at some stage. As Bramley's going to go up the inside of Dunsford here. And he will make that move stick. He's now got Trevor Christensen next up on his list of cars to pass. He's managed to get by Trevor Christensen over the top of the mountain, so he will move into second position to make a Nissan 1-2 at the moment. So Bramley, currently your championship leader. This will be helping him massively, and it's quite a good recovery actually to make up for what happened in race 1, that unfortunate drive-through. Was it championship rival Nathan Addis is at the back in 9th position currently. Quite a ways back, as we see now Trevor Wilson not too far behind. Oh, and Christensen has run wide, and that's going to allow Dunsford and Wilson through. So Christensen's going to fall back to 5th position and slot in behind Trevor Wilson. Apparently there's a battle going on behind between Rob Derrick and Taylor Oakes, not too far behind that lead pack. Interesting to see whether Rob can actually catch Taylor. Grab a quick lap time comparison. So on that last lap, Taylor did a 1 minute 3.827, while Rob Derrick did a 1 minute 5.107. So Rob's got some serious pace over Taylor at the moment, so we should see a move from him very shortly, as now Dunsford's been passed by Wilson, so Wilson now slots into 3rd, and here's a man on a mission to hunt down Craig Priest and Chris Bramley. Oh, and Dunsford's gone real deep into the hairpin, and that's going to compromise his exit, but he's managing to hold on, but he's going to have to slot in behind Wilson, and he will take 4th. He's tried to send it up the inside, up the top at the mountain, but it's not quite worked in his favour. As they now come down towards turn 1. There's a little bit of a battle forming at the front of the field between Bramley and Priest. Keep an eye on that for the time being. But currently Trevor Wilson is the man on a mission, while he hunts down the 2 Castrol Nissans, and Bramley's looking to make a move on Priest here. Is he going to get it done? Oh, a bit of a lock up there in the background just before as well from Trevor Wilson, who's actually not come out the other side, and he's had something happen. I'm not sure what's actually happened there between himself and Dunsford. We'll grab a replay actually of that. So something's happened heading into the braking zone of the chicane. So Wilson's gone and locked up, and and there was a bit of contact between himself and Dunsford. Dunsford unfortunately outbraking himself. So that's cost both of those guys some time. That's allowed Christensen to slot into 3rd. So Wilson having to make it that much harder, and now the Nissans are going side by side. Bramley has managed to go up the inside into turn 1 on Priest. Will grab a replay of that, because that was probably quite a good move actually. So Priest has come up over the top of the hill, and he's had the brakes on a little bit for some reason. I'm not sure why, but I think he may have a sticky brake pedal, but I'm not exactly sure. So we'll jump back to live. Doesn't look like he's lost much time though. It doesn't look like he's got a sticky brake pedal, so he's still powering on. No, he does. He must have a sticky brake at this stage, because his brake lights are still on, and Bramley's pulling away quite a bit. So this could be detrimental for Priest here as he comes into turn 1 to start lap 9. Battle between... Well, Wilson is still making a recovery on what happened earlier in the race. He comes through onto Raceway through Castrol. Still trying to recover that gap. It's not closing overly quickly, but it is closing to Christensen as quick as possible. Oh, another big lockup. Wilson struggling a little bit with breaking into the chicane there. He's locked up quite a few times in this race, and he has been throughout the night actually. So as they come into the hairpin, it's looking like he's got a good run on Christensen here. He could possibly make a move into turn 1 if he can get a good enough run, but they're all going to come into pit lane while Dunsford's going to stay out. So Bramley, Priest, Christensen and Wilson all come into pit lane while Dunsford and Addis comes into pit lane. So Dunsford's still out on track at the moment, so he takes over the race lead, yet to stop at the moment. So it'll be interesting to see what happens as the rest of them continue down pit lane. Tony Dance comes across the line to take second. He's yet to pit as well. Bramley exits pit lane. Addis is into pit lane. Christensen's into pit lane. Silverson's in pit lane. Oakes is staying out. Derek is staying out. Petrie's staying out while he's yet to come around. So... Oh, and Petrie's run very wide and deep into the chicane, and he's actually pretty much missed the corner, and he's unfortunately got stuck on the curb, but he's managed to get it back up and going as Siverson now exits pit lane. So drivers yet to pit currently are Luke Dunsford, as I say that, he comes into pit lane to serve his compulsory pit stop. Tony Dance will come into pit lane, I think. No, he won't. He will stay out and do another long stint, I reckon, as he comes over the top of the mountain. He will take over the race lead from Luke Dunsford. Chris Bramley not too far behind. He is your effective race leader. We go back to... where is he? There he is, Craig Priest, who is second. Effectively third is Trevor Wilson. Effectively fourth. It's going to be close. Dunsford's exiting pit lane, but Oakes is going to have a run, and Wilson's looking to make a move. Oh, and there's been a bit of contact and a big wiggle. Big wiggle from Oakes there. He's managed to hold on to it just. But now that we've got a train forming between Dunsford and Christensen, oh, and Christensen's gone around. Christensen's had contact. But now Addis is going to be holding. Addis is going to try and get a move done on Derek here, and he's going to try. No, he's not. He's going to get stuck behind. He's going to try and make his way through. He's trying everything, actually, but he can't get it done. It's a four-car train for effectively that position on. Addis has pretty much just gone and sent it up the inside. He's packed it, sent it and delivered, and even signed it as well with a bit of contact, but he's managed to get by Rob Derrick, and now he is on the hunt for Taylor Oakes, his championship rival at the moment. Luke Dunsford is just ahead of them, and those two will be hunting Dunsford down as well in the process of fighting with each other. So they don't want to be too aggressive with each other. They want to try and get past Dunsford first before they start scrapping. This race has gone by fairly quickly in the 12 laps that have gone by so far, and there's been all sorts going on around the place. Addis is still trying everything he can to try and get by and catch Oakes, but Oakes is going to try a move on Dunsford here, is he? No, he's not. Never mind. Not quite close enough, but he's right there, ready to make a move when he can. as he comes over the top of the mountain quite sideways, right out in the dirt. Now they're past Dunsford, who's unfortunately run what? No, he's actually pulled away. So now these two are fighting, and it's not going to help them at all. Oaks is possibly going to go defensive. No, he's not. Addis is going to try and brake as late as he can. But Oaks is going to still hold on to that position. Tony Dance is still not pitted, so he's going to start falling down the order very quickly if he's not careful. Rob Jarrett running a bit wide there over the top of the hill, just in the background. As Oaks and Addis are still going at it quite hard as well. They've been doing this for a couple of laps now, and they're not catching Dunsford. Oaks is looking, he went defensive a little bit, but Addis is going to look up the inside. Is he going to get the move done? No, he's not. Not quite close enough. And there in the foreground was, well, in the distance was Tony Dance. So he's fallen down to fourth, and I presume he's going to pit this lap. No, he's not. So he's going to keep on going on. Oh, Addis has sent it up the inside. He's going to get the move done, but Oaks is going to try and do the crossover, but not quite a good enough run. He's going to try everything he can to try and get by again, though. He's got a good run, but he's going to compromise his run up the hill as he's taken too tight of a line, and it's going to push him out wide. But he's still in the draft. He's going to... Oh, he had a look. He poked his nose out. Oh, and he's run wide and onto the dirt through turn one. That's going to cost him some time. So he's starting to fall back. He's starting to make some minor mistakes in this part of the race. Is looking racy, oh, but he's lost it and got straight ahead at the hairpin. That's not what he wants to be doing. He wants to just clean himself up a little bit here and try and catch back up to Nathan Addis. Possibly struggling for a little bit of pace, but Addis has run wide there at the top of the hill, unfortunately, as he comes through turn one now. That's closed the gap up between himself and Oaks. He's come through the first chicane. They've got Dunsford not too far ahead of them. They'll be catching him quite quickly now, actually, now they're not fighting. He's come down the back stretch. Oaks in Addis's draft, and Addis in Dunsford's draft at the moment. As now he's all over the back. Oaks is all over the back of Addis here, and he could possibly make a move on Addis. Oh, and he's given him a bit of a tap. Giving him a bit of a bump through into the hairpin. And that's just unsettled Addis a little bit. As they come over the top of the hill to start lap 17. 3 laps to go here in race number 2. And there is apparently a battle forming for the final spot on the podium between Wilson and Priest. Wilson's going to go up the inside of Priest. Is he going to get it done? Big lock up, and Priest has had to back out of it a little bit to ensure he doesn't make any contact. As they come into the hairpin. Oh, big lock up from Trevor Wilson there. On Priest with a big sideways moment there. I don't think Priest has got anything left for Wilson here. But there's still 2 laps to go. He might be able to get something done. Let's come through turn 1. Battle for 5th position between Addis and Oaks is still going on. We'll keep an eye on that in the meantime. But it looks like Priest is starting to fall away from Wilson here. So we'll jump back to that battle between Addis and Oaks for the meantime. As they head down the back stretch for the second to last time in this race. Oaks is trying everything. He's throwing everything plus the kitchen sink at it to try and get past his championship rival. Addis will be doing everything he can, plus throwing the kitchen sink at it to try and hold off Taylor Oaks. It's a very close battle and an important one as well, heading into the final round at Newcastle in about 2 months' time. So these boys are going to have to be very, very careful about how they approach this round. They don't want to throw it away, but they don't want to be too conservative. With important championship points on the line. It's looking like Priest is falling away still from Trevor Wilson. As this battle is still raging on with 1 lap to go. 1 lap is all that Nathan Addis has left to try and hold on, and one more time. Well, half a lap for them now for Oaks to try and get a move done. But we'll jump to the front of the field as your race winner for race number 2, Chris Bramley, comes across the line to take victory, followed by Trevor Wilson, who managed to pull a gap and recover from the rear of the field to take 2nd position. 3rd will be the 2nd Nissan Altima of Craig Priest. 4th is going to go to Luke Dunsford. This comes up and over the top of the mountain to take 4th position, and Addis is just going to hold on for 5th position, an important 5th position over Taylor Oaks in the championship. 7th is going to go to Trevor Christensen, followed by Rob Derrick, who's going to finish 8th as he comes over the top of the hill. He will cross the line in 8th. 9th is going to go to Jen Siverson. And 10th is actually going to go to Tony Dance. No, it's not actually. Because, well, yes it is actually. Because he's going to run out of fuel just as he crosses the line. So that is your finishing order. Sean Petrie actually crosses the line just in front of Tony Dance. But he was 2 laps down, unfortunately, finishing in 11th. So that is your race order for race number 2 on screen now. Chris Bramley taking the win from Trevor Wilson, followed by Craig Priest and Luke Dunsford and Nathan Addis. Addis and Oaks finishing in 5th, 6th respectively after a fairly decent battle actually throughout the race, followed by Trevor Christensen in the 7th, 8th Rob Derrick, 9th Jen Siverson, 10th Tony Dance, who's just made it across the line after running out of fuel, and 11th is Sean Petrie. So that is race 2. We'll be back for race number 3 very shortly for what is going to be a reverse grid of the points for the night. So, and another 20 lap race, maybe 30 depending on what race control decides on. But thank you for joining us so far tonight. We'll be back very shortly for race number 3, which will hopefully be even more action-packed and should be quite the championship importance to a lot of these drivers to hopefully get some more points and secure a decent placing in the championship. So we'll be right back. Stick around.
The world's best racing car simulators are now available for your personal and corporate entertainment. We manufacture for sale or hire open wheel and saloon car simulators. Don't bore your guests with long speeches, entertain them with something a little different at your corporate events. Set an impression that lasts forever with our car simulators. Put the brakes on your busy schedule and call us today on 0800 497 377.
Alrighty, it is time for race number 3 of the night for round number 14 of the 2017 Hyper Stimulator New Zealand Supercars League here at Pukekohe. Race 3 grid is sorted by a reverse order of the current points for the night. So it is Tony Dance and Trevor Christensen on the front row, followed by Sean Petrie and Rob Derrick. It would be Jen Siverson in third, but unfortunately she's not great. She's unfortunately had to pull out due to getting up early in the morning. So that is your grid by the look. As you can see, lights out and away we go. Rob Derrick not getting that great of a start. And Taylor Oakes giving a bit of contact with Craig Priest off the start. Nathan Addis goes straight up the middle of them. And Dunsford up the inside of everyone pretty much. As they head into turn at number 2, Dunsford's going to have a little bit of contact between Addis by the looks of it, but he's going to stay ahead, and there's more battling going on. Taylor Oakes further back. Oh, a little bit of contact with Chris Bramley there. Now Sean Petrie's going to try and hold on to third from... Oh, Taylor Oakes has gone right off. He's had a massive moment heading into the chicane. So he's going to fall right to the back of the field, and Trevor Christensen is going to take the lead of the race. So they head into the hairpin. Dunsford makes a move up the inside of Derrick, and Addis tried to get the move done, but he didn't quite, and Bramley's now ahead of Priest and Wilson. So at this point, Bramley's going to have the race, well, the round win under his belt. Nathan Addis just going past Rob Derrick there, down the start finish straight. But as they come into turn number 2 for the second time, oh, Dunsford giving Petrie a bit of a bump. Doing a bit of a bump and run, but he's managed to get it by, and Bramley's gone around and into the fence. So Bramley's just undone all that hard work, and he's ended up falling all the way back down into 9th. After getting up into a position that was actually pretty much where he wanted to be. But looking on, Petrie's actually gone around and he's rolling back onto the track. On, Dunsford's hit Addis. On, Rob Derrick's hit Petrie, and there's a massive accident between Wilson involved in as well. That's a huge shun. Grab a replay of that and actually see what's happened. So Petrie's gone. Well, he's actually braked way too late. Hit Tony Dance, skidded across the track, and then pretty much rolled back onto the track. Dunsford's actually made contact with Addis, and that's massive contact, and then he's been hit by Rob Derrick, and Rob Derrick's had nowhere to go, straight into Sean Petrie, and then Wilson's had nowhere to go, straight into Derrick. Absolutely massive shunt, and Derrick's actually been very lucky not to roll it there. 4 cars involved in that one corner accident. That is huge. Absolutely massive. So all these guys will have quite a bit of damage as well due to that accident. Rob Derrick's actually gone off the road just after that. But we'll jump back to live. What a way to kick this race off. So it is Trevor Christensen who leads as they come over the top of the mountain to start lap number 3. As he comes across the line now. After 3 laps, it is Trevor Christensen, followed by Luke Dunsford, Chris Bramley, Craig Priest, and Taylor Oakes. That is your top 5. 6th is Tony Dance. 7th, Nathan Addis. 9th, 8th is Trevor Wilson. 9th, Rob Derrick. 10th is Sean Petrie, and that is your field for race number 3 at the moment. Big cut by bit of an off-track moment there from Nathan Addis through the first chicane, but we'll jump to the mid-pack battle for the minors between Priest and Bramley. Priest hunting down Bramley, and Bramley hunting down Dunsford at the moment. So it's going to be interesting to see what can happen here. And who's going to capitalise on what. One thing we'll have to keep an eye on is Nathan Addis moving his way back through the field as he's all the way down in 8th position. with Taylor Oakes, his championship rival, in 5th. So it's not a position Nathan Addis currently wants to be in that far down. So he's going to have his work cut out to move back through the field. Bramley just does it the fastest lap of the race with a 1 minute 2.942. Absolutely blistering lap. A lot quicker than Dunsford and Christensen by the looks of it. So he should be able to gain the race lead fairly easily. So they come down the backstretch. Looking like there might be something happening further back. Nope, never mind. I correct myself. Render distances can be deceiving at times, but nevertheless. So Bramley's now right on the tail of Luke Dunsford here as they come up towards Ford Mountain. Through the final corner, over the top of the hill, and down the front straight. Has Bramley got a good enough run? Not quite. He's not going to be able to make a move into turn 1, but he should. If he can get it right, he might be able to do it before they get to the back straight. He's come through the first chicane. Bramley's right there. He's got quite a decent run out of the chicane there. He comes down the back straight. He's going to go up the inside of Luke Dunsford. So head into the back chicane. He's going to outbrake Dunsford, and he just outbrakes Dunsford there into the back chicane, but he's got the move done. So head down towards the hairpin. It's looking like Addis is all over the back end of Wilson there, and they've both managed to get by. Addis is just going to send it up the inside. Not quite delivered, because Wilson's going to come back, and a little bit of argy-bargy there as well out of the hairpin as they come up through the mount up towards Ford Mountain. Oh, Addis has run wide, and that's not going to help. It's going to be right out wide, but he's managed to keep it off the dirt. So Addis is recovering and gaining positions from that earlier on incident. As they come down the backstretch, Addis still on the hunt to try and catch up and get by Trevor Wilson. Massive lockup from Trevor Wilson once again. And it's actually looking like Brimley's managed to get by Dunsford there, so actually, yes, he did already. And now Priest is going to be en route to do the same thing. Running a little bit wide on entry there. Out of the chicane through the kink. Oh, and Priest right out in the dirt there. That's not where you want to be. As he heads through turn 1. What we might do is just jump on board real quick for a lap of Pukekohe Raceway with Craig Priest as he hunts down Luke Dunsford and his fellow teammate Chris Bramley. So that was an onboard lap of Pukekohe Park Raceway with Craig Priest driving that Castrol GTX Nissan Altima, as he's now going to attempt to make a move up the inside of Luke Dunsford here at the chicane, but it's not going to quite work. He's not brake delayed enough. So he's going to have to slot in behind Dunsford, but he's going to try and get the over and under on him here. He's going to try around the outside. Dunsford's going to have the inside line, and I think Dunsford might have run a little bit wide, and yes he has, and they've come out side by side. They're going to go side by side as they hit up the hill. Is Dunsford going to retain the position? Yes he is. He's going to stay in third for the time being, but now Taylor Oakes is right behind them. And now we've got a battle for the lead. Christensen is going to be overtaken by Chris Bramley. He's going to go up the inside and take the race lead. He will slot into the first position for the time being. Trevor Christensen will slot back in second, and the battle for third position is heating up even more between Dunsford, Oakes and Priest. So Priest tried to make a move in last time by at the chicane, but he can't quite get it done this time by either. So he's just going to have to bide his time at this point. Not much point rushing it at this stage, with it being early on in the race. Third of the way through this time by for the drivers. There being a 30 lap race instead, and Christensen is in pit lane. I think Oakes, no, never mind. I thought Oakes was going into pit lane, and now Wilson's in the pit lane, and Addis is in the pit lane, and so is Bramley and Christensen. So Oakes is going to go up the inside of Priest there. That's going to put Oakes up into second position, third effectively. Well, fourth, sorry, effectively, as they head down the back stretch. It's being a two-stop race, so the guys will have to take a little bit of strategy into this, and instead of just one pit stop, they have to do it twice. Rob Derrick is also in the pit lane, and that is it at the moment. But the battle for the lead on screen currently between Dunsford, Oakes and Priest. Effectively third in the actual race order, as these guys are yet to make their pit stops, and Dunsford's coming into pit lane, so is Oakes and Priest. The top three, current top three, all coming into pit lane. That's very close for Oakes, and I think he may have sped into pit lane actually, unless Dunsford slowed right up. But as they come through pit lane, your race lead, well, the person that's going to take your race lead is going to be Tony Dance as he comes across the line to start lap 11. And then it will be Sean Petrie followed by Chris Bramley in third for the time being. Craig Priest leaves pit lane and will slot in behind Trevor Christensen. Trevor Wilson's going to be close behind, but he's not quite going to be able to get by Craig Priest here. As they come through turn number 4, down the back straight. It's going to be fairly close, and it appears Dunsford's actually come out ahead of Addis as well. So that's quite interesting to see. And Addis probably won't actually be too happy with that, because it'll affect his position, but Wilson has gone a little bit deep under brakes, but he hasn't lost too much time there. He's actually got quite a decent exit. As someone else is coming to pit lane. Sean Petrie is coming to pit lane by the looks of it. Chris Bramley doing the fastest lap of the race again. 1 minute 2.898. He's been fair honking all night so far as they come through. On Priest has run wide. Now he's going to go side by side with Wilson. Wilson had to back out of it a little bit as he didn't want to make contact with Priest there. So Priest will hold on to fourth position just. But Wilson's looking up the inside, and he's gone very deep under brakes, and he's actually managed to pull it up despite the massive lockup, which is very impressive to see as they come down towards the hairpin. who's going to get the drive? It's looking like Wilson's going to gotten by. Well and truly. Now Oaks will be next on the hit list for Priest. They head down towards the back chicane. Chris Bramley, current race leader, is building a massive gap. He's managed to get by Tony Dance, who's yet to pit at this stage. The only driver, from what I can tell, who is yet to pit. Everybody else has pretty much completed their first stop. As Craig Priest is looking like he was going to make a move, but he hasn't quite done it. He's thought better of it. It's battle for about 5th position currently, /4th. Trevor Wilson, Craig Priest and Taylor Oaks all in this little train of cars, with Luke Dunsford and Nathan Addis not too far behind them. So it's looking like Wilson's actually managed to get quite a good run through that first section of racetrack there, and he's actually managed to pull quite a decent gap on them, on Priest and Oaks. As they come down the back straight, and they're actually closing in on Trevor Christensen here, so Christensen must have lost some time somewhere earlier on, as they are fairly close. And Wilson, no, actually Christensen, no, there we go, getting a little bit lost there. Anyway, so Christensen has lost some time there somewhere. I'm not exactly sure where, but he's lost some time now. Wilson is all over the back of him and is looking very racy, as well as Priest. So a 3-car train currently for the final spot on the podium. Oh, bit of a lock-up for Wilson there, and he's had to run a little bit wide to keep the car on the track. Oh, and a big corner cut from Trevor Christensen there. Possibly just turning it a little bit too early than he thought he needed to. And that's made him go straight across the pavement section of the curb. As now Priest is trying to have a go at Wilson here. Wilson braking very late, just managing to pull it up despite the massive lockup. As they come down on, Addis has actually got it wrong as well. On Wilson squeezing Priest a little bit there. So I'll actually grab a replay of what's actually happened to Addis there. So he's gone to look to the outside, and then he's gone back to the inside, and he's actually kind of lost it under braking, and just kind of not really put the brakes on at the right moment, and he's unfortunately run wide and lost a bit of time to Luke Dunsford, who's just run wide over the top of the hill. And Addis is going to have another go here into turn 1. Is he going to get the move done this time? Yes, he is. Well and truly. So he will slot into 6th position. 1 position behind his championship rival, Taylor Oaks. And he will be hunting down Taylor Oaks as well to try and make another position up and consolidate that 2nd place in the championship. As Christensen is still in front of Priest, between Priest and Wilson. Taylor Oaks not too far behind Priest. Priest getting held up a little bit here, and he's going to try up the inside. No, never mind. Very easy to fake a move into the hairpin at this track, as we've clearly seen a number of times from these guys. Just one of the ways to off-put your opponent in front of you and hopefully get a move done on exit. They come down across the line to start lap 17. Shouldn't be too far away from seeing the 2nd round of pit stops, and it being about 13 laps remaining in this race. A little bit longer of a race than we've seen previously in race 1 and 2. See, with a bit of time to spare in the night. Race Control has opted to go for a little bit of a longer race. As they head into the chicane at the back straight, or the former back straight. Priest has got a decent run here. He's going to look up the inside. Is he going to get done? Nope. And Christensen's almost, well, was just held onto it after braking just a little bit too late. And I believe that was Taylor Oakes entering pit lane for a second stop. Yes, it was. So Oakes will be completing his secondary or second compulsory pit stop. So we'll start to see guys going through pit lane for the second compulsory pit stop in the next couple of laps. Wilson clearly much quicker than Christensen here. So he's pulling a gap and trying to catch up to Chris Bramley, who's currently a race leader quite a ways away, about 12 seconds up the road. So he is well and truly in the lead of the race, as Priest is going to go up the inside and he's going to make the move stick. So Priest now slots into third position to sit in the final spot on the podium. When these boys will pit, I'm not 100% sure, but they shouldn't be not too far away from doing it. Everybody pretty much seemed to pit around the 10 mark, so guys will probably be doing 10 and then 10 and then 10. Doesn't look like there's anything else really. Oh, and Christensen's run wide there. Through turn 1, he's unfortunately carried a little bit too much speed and he's actually run wide into turn 1, so that's dropped him fair ways back from Craig Priest, about 2 seconds from Craig Priest. So now Priest has got a lot less pressure on him at the moment, so he'll be able to focus on what's ahead of him and try and hunt down Trevor Wilson for second position, or if he can't do that, just consolidate a third. Hasn't had the best of nights tonight, with it being a bit of a moment in late race 1, but he's managed to recover in race 2 and 3. So we're looking to try and get some solid points here as he comes into pit lane for his secondary stop. And Nathan Addis follows suit, coming into pit lane. And so does Luke Dunsford. Wonder if anybody else will come in. Not yet. So Craig Priest, Nathan Addis and Luke Dunsford once again coming into pit lane. Bramley's just exited pit lane as well, and Christensen's run wide after staying out. So he's losing more and more time, unfortunately. Just some minor mistakes and it's costing him dearly. Wilson currently a race leader at the moment. Apologies about that. I said Christensen was. Christensen is currently sitting second provisionally until he does his pit stop. Craig Priest has left pit lane and Oakes is going to go round the outside of Craig Priest in very styleable fashion. It's very difficult to go around the outside at Pukekohe. I've done it myself and it's not easy, I'll give you that. So props to Taylor on managing to do that, especially in a very, very heavy and high horsepower V8 supercar. As now he's not too far away from being on the back of Nathan Addis here. Trevor Wilson and Trevor Christensen both in the pit lane as well by the looks of it. So Chris Bramley will resume the race lead. Both Taylor and Nathan have made their second pit stops. Wilson's just left pit lane as Addis is coming over the top of the mountain. So Wilson will slot in second, Christensen will slot in behind, I believe, Tony Dance. Tony Dance, who's still yet to pit for a second time at this stage. So he will be effectively in sixth. Dunsford will move up to 7th, and Rob Jarrett will probably move it into 8th, if I'm not mistaken. But this battle currently on screen is quite an important one for the second place in the championship. These two have gone toe to toe and head to head throughout the entire year so far, and it's come down to these final few rounds of the championship between Taylor Oakes and Nathan Addis for second place in the championship. Addis still fighting for the championship lead as well in the process. It's very close, but depending on where Bramley finishes tonight, it may very well not be enough come the final round at Newcastle in 2 months' time. Currently, the battle between Oakes and Addis, the closest battle on track at the moment, with Craig Priest actually not too far behind them, so he'll be looking to try and get by these two as well. And Bramley goes even quicker with a 1 minute 2.512. Absolutely blistering lap time there. And Bramley just absolutely dominating the field, as I've just about broken the overlay there. Sorry. But anyway, Priest is currently hunting down Taylor Oakes for 4th position at the moment, and it's looking like he's going to get by fairly quickly. As they come down the back straight, Priest will be doing everything in his power to try and catch up and pass Taylor Oakes, as well as Nathan Addis get back into 3rd position. He should be able to do it. He should be able to do it with fair ease, and shouldn't struggle too much to do it, as he's going to try and get a good exit, which it looks like he's got a decent one, but not quite enough. He's going to have to stay slotted in behind Taylor Oakes. So we'll actually jump on board with Craig for a little bit as he hunts down Taylor Oakes, coming down the back straight now, right up and, well, tucked in the draft a little bit. Braking as late as he dares. Oh, Taylor getting a little bit sideways on the exit there. Through, coming out of the back chicane. Priest going wide and then ducking in, trying to get an optimal exit there, which it looks like he's done quite well. Oh, Taylor's actually got very sideways and he's got a bad run over the top of the hill. And now Priest is going to go side by side with Taylor, and he's given him a bit of a nudge, and he's going to slot into 4th position. It's not really what Taylor wanted to have happen, as it's now meant that the gap between himself and Addis is a little bit bigger between points. There's an extra point on the line there, which he does not want. As I hear someone having a mini victory. I think that was Nathan discovering that Craig had got by Taylor, which I would not be surprised if he is celebrating a little bit over, as he does know what's on the line coming into these final few laps and going into the last round of the championship in 2 months' time at Newcastle. 4 laps to go for Craig Priest. Can he get by on? Taylor Oakes has run wide there in the background through turn 1. And that's dropped him away from Craig Priest and Nathan Addis. And he's done it again. Oh, and he's really gone wide and actually got it very crossed up. He's managed to keep on going and hold on to it, but that's cost him dearly. So Oaks is going to have to work for it even more now to try and catch up to Priest and Addis. But now Priest is very close to Nathan Addis. It's pretty much a second between the two cars at this stage. It'll be 3 laps to go this time by for these two. And I would not be surprised if we see Craig Priest get by Nathan Addis here in the dying stages of this race. It's Craig Priest doing everything he can to try and catch Nathan Addis, and he's doing a fairly decent job at it as well. Oh, big fishtail moment there for Craig Priest coming on to Railway. Struggling for traction on the exit there. Not quite what you want to be having. But he's managed to carry on nevertheless. As there's a yellow flag out somewhere in the final sector. I'm not sure what's happened there. Oh, Priest has gone very sideways into the final, into the hairpin there. Not quite the ideal way you want to be entering the hairpin there, but he's managed to pull it off in fashionable style. As there's now 2 laps to go for these guys. As they come through the back chicane, well, the first chicane, sorry, head down the back straight. As there's apparently been a bit of a, well, quite a big moment for Tony Dance there through Castrol. So come through the hairpin, it'll be 1 lap to go for Craig Priest. Can he do it? Let's come over the top of the hill. Craig Priest will have 1 chance left to try and make a move on Nathan Addis. Nathan Addis has run very wide on the last lap at turn 1. This is dramatic. On Priest has got it very sideways and he's ended up in the wall at the and turn 2. That's cost him massively. Is he going to get out in time? Taylor Oates is going to get by in second. No, third. Fourth, sorry. As they come through the back straight, your race winner is going to be Chris Bramley to take race number 3, and that's going to be 2 wins now. So he will extend that championship lead. Your second place finisher is going to be Trevor Wilson as he comes over the top of the mountain to cross the line in second. Very decent night for Trevor there, but it wasn't quite enough to take the win. Nathan Addis is going to finish a very credible third, but Taylor Oates, his championship rival, is going to finish in 4th. Possibly a little bit of controversy in team orders around what happened with Craig Priest there. But 5th is going to go to Trevor Christensen. 6th, Craig Priest after that last lap incident. 7th, Luke Dunsford. And then 8th is going to go to Rob Derrick. 9th, Sean Petrie. And 10th, Tony Dance. So that is the results on screen for race number 3. Your race 3 winner and round 14 winner actually is Chris Bramley, followed by Trevor Christensen, who finished second. Then we go back to Nathan Addis in third, rounding up the podium. 4th, Taylor Oates. That battle for second in the championship will go right down to the wire at the final round 4 at Newcastle in 2 months' time. That'll be very interesting to see, and so will the battle for the championship to some extent as well. 6th will go to Craig Priest, followed by Luke Dunsford, Rob Derrick, Sean Petrie, and then Tony Dance. So that is round number 14 of the 2017 Hyper Stimulator New Zealand Supercars League. Over and done with. One round to go. Round number 15 is the final round of the championship. That will be in 2 months' time at Newcastle, where it is a brand new circuit, so no one will have done any laps at all, and it will be very, very interesting to see who comes away with what positions, especially for the championship and second in the championship as well. Tony Dance has well and truly wrapped up the Social League Championship, so well done to him on securing the Social League Championship. At this point, he won't actually even have to turn up to Newcastle to actually race, so as the gap is already that big between himself and Luke Dunsford, and the fact that 30 points is the maximum you can get on per round, it's unfortunately the gap between Dunsford and Dance is unfortunately more than 30 points, so well done to Tony on that win. So yes, anyway, we'll wrap it up and thank you for joining us tonight. It's been a quite interesting night of racing, some busy and quite spectacular moments, but we'll hope to see you in 2 months' time for round 15, the final round of the 2017 championship at Newcastle. That will be live from a new location, actually, Hampton Downs. If you haven't already heard on our Facebook page, we are moving our Papatoa shop to Hampton Downs due to a very, very good opportunity that's come up and a plan as well. So be sure to stick around and check that out if you have the time to and want to do an event. So thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time for round number 15 of the championship. Till then, we will see you later.
Go, go, go! The world's best racing car simulators are now available for your personal and corporate entertainment. We manufacture for sale or hire open wheel and saloon car simulators. Don't bore your guests with long speeches. Entertain them with something a little different at your corporate events. Set an impression that lasts forever with our car simulators. Put the brakes on your busy schedule and call us today on 0800